Hey, what's up, you guys? Sonic245, welcome back to GSA Forever. Today I am literally forgot to record a video for today, so I'm recording it now. And if you guys know me, I usually pre-record my episodes, so chapter 17, I don't know what happened, but, this is, if you guys hear that, there is a guy mowing the lawn outside, so I will try to talk about that. Chapter 18. Rory, I said, skipping over to him. What? He grumbled, leaning against the wall with his eyes closed. I pouted and reached out, smacking his face. Look at me when I talk to you. Heaven, you're so obnoxious, he snapped, opening his eyes to glare at me. I want to talk to Sebastian today. Help me figure out how to get him alone, I said, ignoring whatever he had just said. I was more important than him. My problems came first. Gee, Evan, I wonder if you could, ask him if you could talk to him in private, Rory cried in irritation. You do not raise your voice, I said sternly. Inside his voice, please. Rory rubbed his temples and shook his head. I hate you so much, he groaned. I don't know why I put up with you. The bell rang. I grabbed Rory's hand, dragging him with me towards the lockers. I released his hand as I reached my locker. Rory stumbled against the locker next to me and glanced at him curiously. Aren't you going to go to your locker? I asked curiously. Rory shook his head and watched me put in my combination. No, he said. But you're still wearing your jacket and it's really hot in the school, I said, noticing that he was even starting to sweat a little. I'm cold, he said with a shrug. I'll put it in my locker if I get too warm. I shrugged and pulled my locker open. I exchanged a few books before shutting my locker and turning to head to class. My eyes widened a little as I jumped behind Rory, and terror in my eyes landed on Jason and Kyle, who had already been watching me carefully. Come on, I'm not going to be late for class just because you're afraid of a couple assholes, Rory said impatiently, dragging him down the hall. Jason and Kyle watched me as we passed them. Jason dragged his finger across his throat, indicating that they were going to kill me. So that's what Jason did. Indicating that they were going to kill me next time they caught me without Rory. Psh, what babies. Not trying to kill me just because I was with Rory. Man, I was glad I wasn't pathetic. I wasn't a pathetic coward like them. We made our way to class. When lunch rolled around, I went to my locker and put in my combination. I pulled my locker open and grabbed my lunch, my arm trembling slightly. I was finally going to ask Sebastian how he felt about me. What if he didn't like me? I understand that I am Evan Saldo. I'm sexy, amazing, but Sebastian was straight, and that was just harsh reality of the situation. Or at least I had thought he was straight, until he, started grinding on me in the locker room. Well, look, who doesn't have a best friend around to protect him? My eyes widened as Jason's voice reached my ears. I slammed my locker and turned to run, slamming right into Jason. He grabbed me and smirked down at me. Hey there, faggot, he said pleasantly, shoving me over to Kyle, who gripped my arms tightly. I don't like the word faggot or the word mustard, but we'll focus on faggot right now since you didn't actually say mustard. God, what an awful word, mustard. Shut up, Jason said. I shut up instantly, and he smirked. He cracked his knuckles and stepped towards me. We didn't get to finish our little conversation. Last time since Amsel interrupted us, he said. And he's going to interrupt you again, Sebastian, I cried, relief flooding through me. He calmly walked over to us, shoving Kyle off me. I told you not to do this. To Evan again, he said flatly. That's right, Sebastian. Protect me like a good boyfriend you are. Even though I don't know if you're my boyfriend yet, but that's okay. Why do you keep protecting him, Amsel? He's a fucking faggot, Jason said angrily. I don't even know how to say this because it's probably in German. Sebastian said, shaking his head at Jason. I really hate that word, and I'm starting to really hate you. I think it was supposed to be faggot in German. Sebastian stepped forward, and Jason nervously took a step back. Jason was by no means sort of short or weak. He was quite tall and muscular looking, but Sebastian matched his height with much more muscle than him. He was much, much more intimidating. I would not I would not want to piss Sebastian Amsel off. I don't have practice for I don't have patience for people like you and Kyle. You don't want to make me mad. Believe me when I say you don't want to be on my bad side. Sebastian snarled in a dangerous grin on his face. I shrank back nervously. Note to self, never make Sebastian mad. Ever. Aw, who am I kidding? He could get mad at me. I was too cute and lovable for that. You two are going to leave Evan alone. Do you hear me? Sebastian said, grabbing a fistful of Jason's shirt and getting right in his face as he spoke. Yes, Sebastian, loud and clear, Jason said, fear in his eyes. Sebastian dragged Jason over to me and gripped Kyle's shirt as well. Kyler gulped in fear. Sebastian forced him to face and smiled pleasantly. Now apologize to Evan, he said. Sorry, Evan, Jason and Kyle choked out at the same time. Sebastian released them and shoved them backwards. Get out of my sight. Don't let me see you bothering Evan again. Next time, I won't be so nice about it, he said, that dangerous grin back on his face. The two bullies scrambled down the hallway together and disappearing out of sight. Sebastian chuckled and turned to me. Are you alright, he asked. I nodded at him. Sebastian bent down, picking up my lunch, which I must have dropped when they grabbed me. I barely remember dropping it. Sebastian straightened up and handed it to me, offering me a breathtaking smile of his. Let's go to lunch. I'm starving. He said. Wait, I said as he turned to leave. I suddenly remembered that I had to talk to him, and now was a perfect chance. We're alone together. I have to talk to you, Sebastian. Sebastian turned without a knowing look in his eyes. He had already knew what I wanted to talk to him about. He smirked and stepped closer to me. He gently stroked my cheek, and I found myself getting lost as a few flies. Can it wait till after lunch, Evan? I'm really hungry, he said. No, Evan. Do not give in. I need to talk to him and figure out everything right now. God only knows when I get Sebastian alone again to talk to him. No, I really need to talk about... I struggled fishing around my brain as I continued to drown in his eyes. Talk about what? He asked, his hot breath on my neck making me shiver. What did I have to talk to him about again? How sexy he was? How he should just get the hell inside me already? How much I wanted to... So, lunch then, he asked. I guess. I said. Sebastian turned and I watched his ass as he strode down the hall towards the cafeteria. He paused and turned back at me curiously. Aren't you coming? He asked. I will be the image of that ass in my mind tonight, I mumbled. What was that? I said. What was that? Yeah, I said. I hurried to catch up with him. After we entered the cafeteria, I suddenly remembered what I had to talk. Hey, Sebastian. Shark beside me distracted me with his eyes. No fair. That's cheating, Sebby. That's right. Since he cheated, I'm going to call him Sebby from now on. Why are you pouting, Sebastian? He asked, glancing at me, headed towards our table. I'm at you, Sebby, I said simply. His lips twitched a little. I held back my smug look. Now I knew how to really irritate him. You never called me that before, he said, trying to remain pleasant and casual. I like the sound of it. I think I'm going to start calling you Sebby from now on, I said with a shrug. I would prefer if you didn't, Sebastian said, very slight irritation slipping into his voice. Why not Sebby? I asked innocently. I don't like to be called Sebby. It's not my name. My name is Sebastian, he said as we reached our table and sat down together. Uh-oh, Evan's pissing Sebastian off, Murphy said in amusement. I'm not pissing, Sebastian said. I'm not pissed, Sebastian said calmly. I'm trying to remind Evan that my name is not Sebby. I don't like being called Sebby. Well, come on, Sebby. Let's go get slushies, Murphy said, standing up and snickering. Sebastian pouted, looking absolutely adorable as he stood up as well. He smacked Murphy in the arm and grumbled as they walked away from the table. I bet Sebastian would love to know that Evan is your nickname, Rory said. Hush up, Rory, I whined. Now, I need to find a way to get Sebastian alone. Help me out here. Rory rolled his eyes. Tell him your dad needs both of you to help him move some stuff around in his room. Get Sebastian alone in an empty classroom in the English hall. The one that's a few away from your dad's room. You're a genius, I said joyfully, flinging my arm around him. Rory sighed and pat my back. Yeah. Sebastian and Murphy returned. I waited till Sebastian was done eating before turning my attention to him. My dad texted me. He needs our help moving some stuff around in his room, I said. Sebastian shrugged and stood up. Sure, he said, slinging his bag over his shoulder. I got up and the two of us left the cafeteria and began to walk towards the English wing. I kept my eyes peeled for a classroom Rory had mentioned. There, I shrieked joyfully when I saw it. I shoved Sebastian in the classroom roughly before slamming the door and turning to face Sebastian, who had managed to catch his balance on a desk. Evan, if you wanted me alone, you could have just asked to talk to me alone, he pouted, and raising an eyebrow as he straightened himself up. I tried to talk to you in the hall, but you used your eyes to cheat, I whined. Sebastian smiled innocently, trying to hide the smug look in his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar, I grumbled. But then I realized that he was trying to get me to meet his eyes so that he could do it again. I immediately dropped my gaze down to my feet. I determined to get my friggin' answer. Please look at me, Evan. His voice was close to me, and I realized he had been towards me. I shook my head and stubbornly grabbed his hand before he could grab my chin. Sebastian, tell me right now if you like me or not, I demanded fiercely. We're friends, Evan, Sebastian said curiously. You know that's not what I mean. Do you have feelings for me, or are you just messing with my head? I won't look up until you answer. You're not getting away until I have an answer. I don't have feelings for you, Evan, he said. But I slowly brought my eyes to his, my knees quickly. They didn't hold their usual confidence. There was doubt in them. I was positive of it. I stepped forward and completely surprised me. Sebastian stepped back, and I continued to back him up until he was against the wall, suddenly looking nervous and caught off guard. I don't have feelings for you, he repeated, but this time he looked slightly desperate. I had never seen Sebastian Ansel look so or sound like this before. He always managed to keep this calm and composed. I think you do, I said, grinning a little. I don't, he said, trying to sound firm, but it came out shaky. Without hesitation, I cupped Sebastian's face in my hands and crushed my lips onto his before he could pull away from me. Sebastian didn't do anything at first, but then he was kissing me back. He wrapped his arms around my neck, pulling me closer to him. I moved my hands from his face to his hair, tangling in them. It was so soft. I pulled my face closer. I pulled his face closer to mine and watching him. Our lips worked together perfectly and naturally. Sebastian bit my bottom lip, and I opened my mouth, allowing his tongue in. Our tongues battled together fiercely. My hands moved from Sebastian's hair down to his shirt. I slid them under him and pressed my body up against his. His hands rubbing up and down his smooth chest. Sebastian finally broke away from me. His eyes widened in disbelief. I pulled my hands back and suddenly reluctant. Holy shit, he mumbled, running a hand through his hair, which was still lying perfectly even after I had been gripping and messing up. He should sell his hair to science. Make a ton of money. People would probably kill to have hair as perfect as Sebastian's. Wait, no, if he sold his hair to science, that means he wouldn't have it anymore. He couldn't lose that hair. Sebastian, don't sell your hair to science. It's not worth it. I'll lend you money if you're that poor, I said in concern. Sebastian stared at me, confused, mixing with disbelief in his eye. What the hell are you talking about, Evan? I'm not poor. I'm not selling my hair to science. Ooh, whoops. That was just a scenario in my head, I said nervously, rubbing the back of my neck. Never mind, carry on. Sebastian began to stroke my cheek, his hand trembling, and leaned down to press his lips to mine gently before pulling away. Fine, he groaned. I admit it. I like you a lot more than I should. I stared at him, my heart feeling like it was going to burst with joy. Sebastian Ansel liked me? I flung myself at him, and he caught me and stumbled back, hitting the wall again. He gave me a weak smile and hugged me back with a sigh. You're such a moron, he whispered. You love it, I said with a grin. I rested my hand on his chest, and we stood there together. I had never been so happy in my entire life. There was still an issue of being in the closet, but I wonder if I would handle that. But I would handle that. There was also an issue that Sebastian and I weren't official dating, but I had a feeling that would change very, very shortly. And I was damn happy about it. 17 minutes. Alright. This video has gone too long. I didn't want to say anything. So the song is Britney Spears' Trouble For Me. If you guys want to listen to that song, click the link in the description. You guys can also follow along the story. Click the link in the description. I will see you guys tomorrow for chapter 90. And until next time, gays or cages, that's the GSA. Mwah!